Bob, let me add my congratulations for your win in the Predict and Prevent category of the Global Innovation Awards. Well earned. I've been following what you guys have been doing for a long time. I thought maybe to start us off, you would just tell us a little bit about that magic device you have in your hand and what you've done with it.
Well, thank you, Paul, first of all, and really thanks to the institutes and all of your leadership on the whole kind of mindset of predict and prevent, right? And really that's core to what we do. This device, Ting, that Whisker Labs developed, and it all started because my sister-in-law's house burned down several years ago. It was a terrible electrical fire, lost a pet, lost everything that they owned. And it was just a catastrophic event. And I didn't know anything about electrical fires at the time, but I'm an engineer and a technologist, and had some experience from the prior company that was able to co-found and challenged our engineers and our chief scientists to say, why can't we come up with a product that would prevent these terrible fires? Electrical fires are often the worst. They're often a total loss. People lose their lives regularly in those things, and we worked super hard at it, and the technology's problem was really hard. Eventually, we came up with a super simple product, right? I mean, it's just a plug. Ting, you plug it in, it takes 2 minutes, you connect it to Wi-Fi, one sensor monitors your entire home. We detect the problems that would otherwise, if left unattended, result in electrical fires. So we prevent 80% of electrical fires today, and we're super passionate about protecting our families and our homes.
So I find it interesting, the prior company, because I followed innovation for a long time, and it's kind of interesting the way things feed into other things. And one problem leads into another problem. So you were telling me that the prior company, among other things, had sensors detecting lightning, and you went from looking at big arcs to tiny little arcs.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some serendipity here. I mean, the prior company, we operated a global network of weather and climate sensors, a private network that was the largest in the world. One of those was a lightning detection network. And when my sister-in-law's house, was lost due to an electrical fire, kind of studied, what causes those things. And it turns out that there are loose connections and damaged wires. All it takes is a slight loose connection, and it creates a tiny little arc. It's a tiny little bolt of lightning. Even though it's tiny, the temperature of those arcs is literally the temperature of the sun. So when that's happening inside of a wall or somewhere next to combustive materials, that's what results in catastrophic fires. So we were able to leverage the experience and the technology from the prior company to solve what otherwise, it's a very hard problem. To do it with one sensor is the key. I mean, and that's what's important for our insurance partnerships and for our customers at home, in that, some of the failures of IoT sensors have been the complexity of the installation. You need a lot of sensors. You have to replace batteries. There's maintenance. And, what we sought that was very difficult was a solution that was simple. It needed to be one sensor. It needed to just be plug in, plug and play, no maintenance, no batteries. And ultimately, we were able to figure it out, and that's why it's scaling today.
So I think that plug and play thing is key, and I'd be interested to have you tell us a little bit more about that, because in my experience, if you have to do even a little bit, that can put people off. So I've been a fan of telematics for a long time. I started writing about it more than 20 years ago. But the fact that you had to buy a dongle or have it sent to you, and then for us non-engineers, figure out how to plug it into the car so you could do all that was a real impediment. Whereas now you can do it on your phone, and everything is so much simpler.
Yeah, so the phone is the sensor, right? So.
Right. So I assume that was a huge plus for you, that you could just have people themselves plug it into a wall socket, done.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, and then, once we, finding that signal in the noise was the hard part, and then once we did that, then we focused on, and we had some experience in the prior company too, delivering an experience for the customer that is super simple. So our app, we really pride ourselves on delivering an experience for the customer that is super simple. We obviously make sure the customer is very well aware that it's their insurance company that is investing in their families and their home safety. And that's, from a business model perspective and our partnerships with our insurance companies and carriers, how cool is it that, they're not just dealing with a customer after a catastrophic claim. They can proactively provide this technology, and when it saves their home, I mean, the feedback that we get every single day, thanking our insurance partner for making this investment in Ting is just off the charts, and they just, our customers appreciate the fact that it saves lives.
Right. There were a couple other things you did that I think were key, just as sort of lessons for other innovators. One is you stuck to your knitting, right? I mean, you focused on the U.S. first and are only now expanding overseas.
Yeah. I mean, definitely one of the biggest lessons learned from a company perspective is focus. I think that's a lesson that I've learned over my career. And, now for a number of years, we've been pushed to, why can't you put Ting in commercial buildings? Why can't we put it, in Europe or Latin America or Asia? And the answer technically is there's no reason that Ting can't be plugged into commercial buildings and prevent all kinds of losses. There's no reason it can't be plugged in globally, but we had to focus, as a company and make sure that we deliver a solution that is proven, we have all the kinks worked out, it scales, and then we're making a very mindful decision. So we are launching in Canada now. We're having discussions about launching in Europe, but we're doing it very thoughtfully. I mean, had we just listened to people a couple of years ago, that we would have tried, but that could have created a failure in the U.S. because we get distracted, right? It's not easy to launch a global business. We know that. So when we do, we want to do it right.
And the distribution strategy. I mean, I'm sure the temptation is to try to sell those things directly to me, but you didn't.
Yeah, we definitely mindfully thought about, what is our business model going to be? Are we going to go direct to the consumer, or are we going to try to B2B2C through insurance partnerships or utility partnerships? I mean, and when you really look at the landscape out there, I mean, you have companies like Nest and Ring, that were highly successful selling, consumer electronics and IoT sensors to homeowners. But it took, $100 million in marketing, and while there's 2 success stories, there's 100 failures. There's 100 failures, So we didn't want to go that route, and we knew we had a solution that, had an opportunity to be a great value proposition and a good business for insurers. It was a matter of just proving it for our insurance partners. We know we have to deliver. Like it is a privilege for our brand, Ting, and our product to be distributed by, the likes of State Farm and Nationwide and Erie and Pure and Westfield and the Farm Bureau of Michigan. It is a privilege for us to have our brand. We need to deliver an awesome experience, that is fitting of what they would want to deliver to their customers, and we do that. And we know that we have to prevent more losses than the cost. I mean, it's very straightforward. So, we very much stay aligned with our partnerships with the insurance carriers to focus on delivering a great solution to the homeowner and making sure we're preventing losses.
Yeah, that's one I've struggled with for a while with water sensors, water leak sensors, where I think they're getting close, but they're not necessarily there yet, whereas I think you guys have cracked the code.
Yeah, I mean, water and fire. Water is actually a larger loss category, right? And there's a lot of products out there, and there's been a lot of failures. And I'd love to see somebody succeed, frankly. Because water is a huge peril for our carrier partners, but I don't know that anybody's fully cracked the code. I mean, it takes too many sensors, or they're too complicated, or they're too expensive, or they're only compatible with certain homes, and there's always a kind of a gotcha, in terms of getting those things to scale. But again, there is a bunch of activity there, and some good companies trying to do some great work there too.
And that's one of the things I like about this. I mean, the whole predict and prevent idea. I'm not really an insurance guy. I'm a technology guy. I got involved with insurance about 13 years ago. But I always thought that nobody wants to buy insurance. They want to buy protection. So they want to buy a Ting. They don't want to get compensated afterward. I mean, they want to get compensated afterward. That's a great...
Again, I total kudos to the institutes and everybody associated with that, because, the business has been challenged now. I think it's hopefully back on the upswing now, but, for a number of years there, the businesses, the insurance business was really challenged. Why? Because the losses and the claims were through the roof, right? I mean, with inflation, when you have a catastrophic fire in a home, the cost to, rebuild that home skyrocketed. And that just has terrible consequences for the insurance carrier. But it's even worse than that for fires, because it's not just the dollars that get paid to the homeowner to do the work to replace, but agents and their staffs. When there's a total loss, the time and the effort to work with the homeowner to catalog everything that was lost, document it all, those things go on for months and sometimes even years. And so it's a huge time sink on agents. And so across the whole chain, it's starting with the homeowner, to the agent, to the carrier, it's far better if you can just prevent the loss.
Right.
Right.
So this is great. Again, congratulations. I appreciate your good work, and I hope you go from 1 million homes where you are today to 10 million in a couple years, and I'll get off to the races from there.
Well, yeah, no, we're focused. I mean, I think we truly believe that Ting, this plug belongs in every single home, right? It's 120 million homes or so in the U.S. and then like 1 billion or so globally. And but to get there, we know we've got to deliver a great product, a great business result for our insurance carriers, and obviously a great experience for our homeowners. But yeah, I mean, this is a technology that like smoke detectors need to be everywhere. Ting should be installed in every dwelling unit because it prevents fires and saves lives.
The last time I heard a vision like that, it was Bill Gates saying a computer ought to be on every desktop, and that worked out pretty well for him. So thanks, Bob.
Well, I don't know. Hopefully we'll get there too. So.
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks.